Hey everyone, how are we doing? So, got people coming in, which is absolutely fantastic. Welcome. This is going to be really cool. We're speaking to Steve Astle, obviously. So, Steve is the coach's coach. He helps coaches build incredible businesses both in person and online. But I actually wanted to grab a familiar face, Jay Kelly, really, really quickly. So, just for the first 6 minutes or so, just to talk about Jay's, because this is a topic I really want to talk about today is Jay's total change of perspective and focus, I suppose, over the past 6 months, Jay, compared to when I met you years ago. I've been saying to Jay, and if any of you know Jay's stuff, you'll know that arguably I think one of the best coaches on that you can see on socials because there is just no doubt that he is incredible at articulating things and getting students to do what he wants them to do, right? You got to go and look at his content. It's absolutely incredible. But Jay's been in and out and dabbling with Skillest for years, right? And finally, he's made a decision to will focus on it pretty much entirely with a little bit of a bit of in person, which he's also using Skillest for, and he's actually using the new calendar system that we can chat about in a second. But Jay, I just want you to talk about probably Stephen, you can probably ask him a couple of questions because Steve and Jay are actually working together now, which is probably 6 years, should have happened 6 years ago. But Jay, just talk about what your life looked like a year ago and now what it looks like having now gone, right, this is what I want out of my life.
Yeah, sure. So I was quite lucky. I got my first head pro role job at 24. So, at that age, an amazing opportunity, I guess at the time, good money. Then I fell into the hamster wheel, if you like, of early mornings, getting up at or opening the shop at 7 a.m., shutting at 6. And I guess my day looked like that 5, 6 days a week. If anyone's a head pro or an assistant on the platform, I'm sure they'll appreciate the long days. And then carried on working my way up. I'm 33 now and decided at Christmas, the back end of the year, that I was going to quit my job and just go all in on Skillest. So going from working all those hours in the pro shop, trying to coach, own the shop, club duties, to now just doing Skillest. And the day looks very different now. Like I work in-person lessons, I think 3 days a week in total, and then the rest is, or 2, 3 days a week in total, and then the rest online now. So yeah, it's been good.
Amazing. Incredible. So how many subscribers have you got now on Skillest compared to what it was
So
at Christmas?
I
And
thought, yeah, when I was head pro, I thought I was doing all right. Like, you can see the money in the bank and stuff like that. And I had 16 to 18 subscribers, all paying me a couple of $100 a month. And I thought that was quite good. But then I saw other people smashing it up on the platform, shall we say, and I wanted to be part of that. And now, in just 6 months of quitting my job, I'm now up to 70 subs,
mm,
and that has now quadrupled the income that I had before.
amazing. How
So
good.
yeah.
I mean, that's just super cool. So something we will talk about today, but I always say to coaches that I can sit down with them for 2, 3, 4 hours and we can talk about hardcore tactical things that you need to do to grow Skillest, right? But it all starts with a mindset and changing quite literally um, long long ingrained behaviors, let's just say, right? So I'm a teaching pro, I've been teaching for 25 years. Steve's a teaching pro, Jay. We unfortunately get institutionalized and we get into this thing of rocking up to our academy, our driving range, our club, whatever it might be, and we work in our business all day long, right? So we do our 9 1 hour lessons, or we do our 5 lessons in a clinic, or we do whatever it might be, and our club fitting and bit of head pro stuff, and then we get to the end of the day. And we're like, oh my God, I've really got to do something that's more scalable than what I'm doing, right? So it's not until you quite literally change your day, right, that we can then start talking about tactics and behaviors. So I'm sure you probably agree with that sort of stuff, Joe.
Yeah, I think the mindset change for me is I was like, and I think this is quite good actually. I was investing physical money into YouTube ads, Facebook ads, or Instagram ads, and I was trying to grow that way. And I was investing physical money. Then I figured out, okay, well, if I stop doing a lesson, that's still physical money. So I started to go, okay, I'm going to invest my time into this. So I started to do less lessons, and it's scary for everyone because, it's safe at a club, it's safe teaching on the range all day. But if you want to scale, then you've got to take a little bit of a risk, of course. So I changed the mindset in that I was going to exchange my time as the investment and really go all in on it. So I thought, okay, what can I do to bring all these people onto the platform? And I'm going to take, rather than do a lesson, so I only do 4 hours, 4 days a week now in person, and that's going to be going down again soon. And all in the mornings, that is time for growth. So what does that mean? Well, I'll be making sure I'm doing my Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Obviously, I've got a team around me now that help me with that, as it grows. But yeah, just exchanging time as the transaction rather than financial, and that was massive for me. And then the second I gave it time to really think about a strategy and say, okay, how am I actually going to grow this, and sit down and study and research into it and work with great people like yourself and Steve, then yeah, that's when the mindset changed for me. And then you start seeing the income grow, and yeah, and it will change again. Like I said, I'll be doing less hours soon too.
Amazing. I'll ask one more question, Steve, and then I'll bring you in.
Nice, good. It's good.
So
Keep going.
so what? Tell me what tomorrow looks like. So right now it's 9 o'clock in the UK. 7 o'clock here in the morning. But what does tomorrow look like? Like give everyone an idea, because no doubt every teaching pro, obviously it's getting colder whether you're in New York right now or in Seattle or in London. So tomorrow might be slowing down for a few coaches for their in-person stuff, but most in-person coaches are waking up tomorrow and they're like, all right, warm coffee, jump in the car, drive to work, do work, and then come home and regret not doing more to build their business. What does your day look like tomorrow?
So I'll get up in the morning, have a coffee, check in with everybody online just very quickly. Not real lessons, just checking in, make sure nothing too urgent. And the best thing for me, I'm going to take my son to school. I've never got to do that before. And now every day, take him to school, come back, do my online lessons till about midday, 1 o'clock. I go into work at 2, or first lesson at 2, 2, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. Come home, put my boy to bed again. Lovely. So yeah, very, very different. But in those morning slots, going to be a lot of how am I going to grow as much as
Yeah.
the in-person stuff. So I'm making sure I'm checking in, making sure on my socials, I'm trying to drive people to the platform with free analysis and stuff like that. So really trying to make sure that I'm bringing people in as well.
Yeah, totally. So I remember speaking to Keith Bennett about this, God, 5 years ago. And Keith has always said, and Keith's obviously built an empire and does, all sorts of things from brand, promotions and marketing and stuff like that. But he's always saying, like, every coach has got their priority pyramid upside down. It's quite literally the wrong way around, where they, all they do is prioritize their 1 hour golf lessons every day, and then the tiny tip, or what this tiny little bit they work on, is like growth and their brand and global reach and all these things we talk about all the time. And it sounds like you finally flipped that, so that that's a priority, and then and obviously a skill stuff, and then guess what, your in-person stuff is at the end of the day, sort of thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it did take me a long time, and I know you nagged me for a long time, and all I can say is I really, really do wish I did it sooner. Yeah, I know.
It's like, for everyone out there, like Jay's like, it's been probably 7 years or something. I've been saying to Jay, you could literally build an empire on this platform, but he's finally done it, so we're not going to complain.
No more digging me out.
No, exactly. Now, the other thing this does really quickly, right, is it creates leverage, right? So it leverage in a bunch of different ways. Leverage in how you can spend your time, how much more time you've got to yourself. But the cool thing it does for your in-person, I would say, Jay, is that all of a sudden, as you grow your brand, as you grow, your global reach and reputation and your skillest stuff, right, which gives you income, it also allows you to start charging more for your in-person, because it's almost like a cherry on top, isn't it? And because you've got such limited time that you want to dedicate to your in-person, all of a sudden you can start charging 90 quid, 100 quid, 120, 130 quid, whatever it might be, right, for those lessons, which is so much harder to do when all you're worried about, or all you are, is a local legend. So Kerrod Gray talks about this, which I love his terminology. He talks about moving from a local legend to a global reach. Once you've got global reach and you've built this digital business, all of a sudden you've got leverage to charge a hell of a lot more for your in-person as well. So you can actually, both sides of the table start making more money.
Yeah, I guess once your time is more limited, it's so much more precious to you, right?
Yeah.
And that precious time has got to cost something, right? So yeah, that's what I'd say about that. I completely agree with that 100%.
Steve, do you want to Steve, do you want to, I'm sure everyone on the call here at the moment knows who you are, but just in case, and this is obviously going to go out to hundreds more coaches that might know who you are. Do you want to have a quick chat about who you are and what you do?
Can do. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, as always. Jay, great to see you. And obviously we've chatted a lot lately. And, just before I intro myself, just really cool that to see somebody like Jay make the jump. And I know we kind of laugh there and Baden's laughing at, I've been telling you this for 7 years. It's flipping hard to take that jump. It feels like such a big risk to do it, especially when you've just, got young kids or one on the way and things like that. And it's not just, we don't expect everyone on this call tomorrow to go, I'm going to walk in and quit the job. But what we do know from most successful people out there in all industries, they have all done that at some point, whether it's leaving Harvard, whether it's, whatever it's going to be, they've had to take some risk. And usually that's when we perform the best, when we go back against the wall and we go, right, now I've got to make this work. So yeah, fair play to you, Jay. And it's great to see you, grow get the fruits of that off the back of it, which is great. And as Baden said as well, the whole supply and demand thing, suddenly you reduce your diary, you start to charge more, people know that you're super busy, it all just starts to snowball and you gain that leverage. So yeah, so awesome. Hello, I'm Steve Astle. I've been on that journey myself. The thing I wish, Jay, was that digital coaching was there for me. As old as I am now, I wish digital coaching was there for me when I was, where you are in your career, because you couldn't scale at that point. Scaling was just moving your price up. That's all you could do, or you taught more hours. To have a platform like Skillest, which genuinely does change lives, is really cool thing to have. And I think everybody should say thank you to Baden for being the one that's built that out. And again, I'm sure for you, Baden, it was a big risk to go, actually, I'm going to stop coaching. I'm going to follow my dream and get this platform in place. It's no different. There's always an element of risk. So yeah, that was me. I was the same, full out coach. And then suddenly, as we talk about, I'm sure we'll talk about tonight, I started to shift my mindset away from, will somebody pay that amount, to actually, what's the problem that needs solving? And once I started to realize, as they say, if you can solve a problem for somebody, then you've got a business. If you can solve a problem for rich people, you've got a very successful business. But for me, I'm just still working on the people bit at the moment. We'll find the rich ones later. But so what I did was start to just grow out my business, get it to a stage where it was full, it was maxed. And then coaches came at me and went, do you think what you do would work in my business? And I went, I don't know, because that's what people will be doing tonight, is going, I wonder what Jay's done. Would that work for me? Yes, it will. It's just putting the right tools in place. I think everybody who sees successful coaches on Skillest think, oh, they've got some magic that I don't have. Everybody on this course tonight's got the capability to go on and do that. But yeah, that was me. So then I just started to build out and help other coaches, solve problems and give them solutions to solve problems. And then I guess started working with you guys, Baden, when I was just like, well, again, part of that being proactive, I reached out to you and went, I need to chat to you, because I remember the call. Alex hooked us up and I went, I need to talk to you because what you are doing, I think, is awesome and I want to know more about it. And coaches I work with need to know more about it. So yeah, I've spent probably the last 7 or 8 years just helping coaches like all you on the course tonight. I think there's plenty here that we work with, gone from in-person consultancy, helping them, market their businesses better, to eventually get into a stage as well now where we give them resources because they go, Steve, I know what you need me to do, but I don't have the time to do it. I don't want to do it. Cool. Then I'll solve a problem and we'll do the resources for you. So yeah, that's my journey. Took me loads of cool places. Probably like Jay, should give up coaching, but I still love being out there for 10 hours a week and working with players. And I love just being on the ground. So I could stop it, but love doing it still. And love getting up every day, flipping on Instagram and seeing what coaches, see what's new, what's coming out, what's the next bit with AI that's happening. Yes, I just love all of that. So that's me. If I can help anybody, reach out anytime.
Awesome. And just really quickly, before we really get into the nuts and bolts, Steve and I are actually doing a tour of the UK in January. So anyone who's in the UK right now listening, we're going to be in London, Wolverhampton or Birmingham. We're at Three Hammers. So with Rob Luck, and then we're going up to around Manchester and then Edinburgh. So if you want to get involved in one of those live experiences, day-long seminar, we'd love to see you there. So you'll get more information about that in the future. But anyway, so Jay, I'll let you go, mate. So thank you so much. I literally asked him to do this 5 minutes before we started. So 'cause I think he's just such a perfect example of behavioural change, which changes your life. So thanks so much. Is there anything what's the last thing, if you were going to leave parting words with all the coaches out there?
Strategy. No good business would run without a strategy. That's the biggest thing and mindset that I changed. Have a strategy, have a plan in place. How am I going to drive these people to the platform? How am I going to grow the platform? How am I going to make money out of this? And that's where Steve's going to be great. And just before I go, I agree with Steve. We should be thanking Baden and the team, because how many other opportunities, and Steve's right, go back 20 years ago. How many coaches do you know that Baden, I'm sure you won't mind me saying, not me, but how many coaches are making 100, 200, 300 grand 20 years ago, thanks to you guys? So yeah, and there is no magic sauce, just you got to do it.
Yeah, on the grind. Thanks, mate. I do appreciate it. And we're just getting started. Someone said to me, I'll let you go, Jay. You go, and then
right.
You can.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You can watch the rest of this, but then go to bed. And
Cheers, Jay.
So something I hear Steve still, which is weird, is I literally spoke to a coach yesterday that said, I'm really late to the party here. I'm really late to the party. I'm like, oh my God, this is literally day one of the whole movement. It's still just starting. And all of the AI tools that are coming out, look, you can either see them as a threat or whatever, but to be perfectly honest, I see them as the huge advancement of digital coaching in general, whether it's in person and how you're digitizing that, or how you're digitizing your online experience. I think that, and we can talk about tactics that probably the average coach can do to combat something that they might see as a threat from AI as well over the next hour or so. But I do think the more people that are filming their swings, getting data, doing all these things, the more they're going to actually need a professional like you out there to help them with it as well.
Absolutely.
Right. All right. So everyone out there, we would love some questions, right? So I did ask for some questions. I didn't get any, right? Because I know everyone's sort of busy and doing that sort of stuff, but the Q&A is open. So down below, you can hit a button. You can ask us any questions you want about any question at all. And just remember, there is quite literally no question that is silly or you feel like might have been asked a million times before. Just go for it, because as I said, we're still at day one. So any questions, go for it. But Steve, I might just ask you a couple of things. If someone was someone starting brand new on the platform, right now, right? So both, starting brand new, what have you seen is the most effective thing as their very first two steps, for example?
I mean, the most effective thing, we'll talk two things here. One would be what's the most effective, and then two would be what is the biggest problem that we see, or the biggest fear, if you like.
Yep.
So first one would be get using the tool straight away. The biggest thing I encounter day in, day out is that most coaches don't realize they can use Skillest in person here, and I'd love to grow this little world, and they're separating their own business. You've now brought it together where, and I don't coach online with Skillest because of everything else I've got going in my world, but it's part of my day-to-day app that I always go to. If I've got a client in front of me, the first thing that happens is Skillest comes out. I grab their data straight away. So I've got that. I get them on the app. I guess going back a step before that is I feel comfortable enough on the app myself that I can bring it out in front of a client. So I'd recommend to any client, first of all, go get your landing page set up, your presence, go get your offer set up is always the most basic thing. Don't overthink it. Are you going to get your price right straight away? Probably not. And we'll talk about pricing straight away. As we go. Are you going to use the app correctly straight away? Probably not. Okay. But there's so much in place that to help you with onboarding videos, with myself or Baden, if you need to reach out and somebody to hold your hand through the process, we're there to do it. So to answer your question would be, one, get on the app. Don't just wait for this online person to appear in your world. Start using it day in, day out with all of your clients. Because straight away, even if you didn't use it online, you will add massive value to your players in front of you. I get no end of clients go, oh, so-and-so showed me the app. Am I going to be on that today? Yes, you'll get all your notes as well going through that. I love letting them know. I've literally just been on a call with a coach who is battling doing their notes after the session. Again, notes are done during the session. It's there and then. They go out the door. And actually, one of the value adds is I tell them, all your notes will be, by the time you get in the car, all your notes will be there on the app for you, waiting. So that's huge. So to answer the question, get on the app, play with it at home on your own, fake lessons and whatever it is. Get comfortable with getting a story feature set up, send it to somebody. When I first did it, I created 2 profiles, one as a coach, one as a player. And I went through the process. If I was a client, what would I receive? And I went through the process of a different email address as me as the coach. What was I sending? So I could see everything from both sides.
Yeah, love it.
Fears?
Sorry.
Go on, jump in.
Yeah. We've got a bunch of questions as well. So I'll sort of say something relatively quickly. If you don't realize this, you need to know this. Skillest is, I think, the best in-person coaching tool you can possibly use, right? So I use it to document the entire session while people are standing in front of me. Literally every analysis I do is captured. Every drill that I allocate is captured and dedicated to that lesson story. That then has AI summaries. All this stuff is done for you. My students go home with 10 to 15 minutes of the entire lesson and get an AI summary, and I don't do any work afterwards. The entire thing is designed for you to capture the session as it occurs. And then I cannot tell you how important it is to do that, because you get great at the tools and then serendipity happens. So what I mean by that is, if you're in the app every day, people follow you out of nowhere, right? Hey, David Williams just started following you. Hey, Steve Astle just started following you. You can interact with it. Even if you're in the middle of a lesson, you can send a quick text to someone and say, thanks for following me, like on Skillest. So you've got to be in the platform every day, get good at the tools. And in that process, you're providing incredible value to your in-person students anyway. They become part of your digital academy. So that, to be perfectly honest, it all starts there, right? Start using it with all your in-person students. I could go on about that, but I won't too much, because I want to answer all of these questions, which are now flooding in, which is fantastic. Andy Carter, right? The great Andy Carter's got a question. Do you think websites are still valuable with how huge social media has become? Steve, I'll ask you that.
Yeah, I still think they are, because it's a way that people can find you. Still think that going through Google, actually, interestingly, I had a client come in last week, and I always ask them, so how did you end up in here today? And this person had found me through ChatGPT. So that was quite interesting. People are using the AI tools as search engines now, which I think is definitely coming next. So I would say to coaches, make sure you start to establish a presence on things like ChatGPT, OpenAI, because people are using them as search engines. But yes, websites definitely have a place as a online brochure where people can go find out more about you and search for you in your area. And I think Skillest landing page and I think for the next 5 years, they're still going to be really powerful websites.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, just because I think that...
What's your take, Mark?
Yeah, well, I agree, because what ChatGPT does is basically ingest everything on the internet. So ChatGPT and all these LLMs, they will become a primary search engine for most people. So if you've got more presence on the web, it's just that these LLMs are just going to ingest it all, and it will give them more information to be able to drive people to you. So I would definitely recommend still doing it. obviously Skillest accounts, your Skillest profile is a pretty good website replacement though, especially when you look at it on the web and stuff.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that sits alongside that would be YouTube as well. Obviously, one of the biggest search engines out there. So, we're back to this. If I started again tomorrow, am I too late for YouTube? Nope, still not. Jump on there, get presence on there. People will find you. They follow you then into your online. It's understanding where. So for me, if we went into funnels without getting too technical, website, YouTube, they sit at the top of that funnel right there, and can be ways that you can feed into Skillest off the back of those.
Totally. Kunal is asking, what would be a good strategy for online students who are entering the off season and their courses are closing, or the weather is just restricting their golf hours? Steve, good one for you.
Question, give me the first part of that. Sorry, I missed that. What would be
What would be a good strategy for online students who are entering the off season?
a good strategy? What, to get new online students or for the students themselves?
Well, either students you've already got on the platform or for brand new students that are going into the off season.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is putting programs together for those people that should be running year round, but don't be scared to, again, without getting too technical, periodize your coaching and let players know, right, you're now coming into the off season wherever you live in the world. We change up what we do. So now that'd be a great opportunity to jump. And we'll talk about this evening. People use Skillest in so many different ways, which is really fascinating. Yeah. Some are kind of, there's Zoom calls, there's live lessons. There's some very, very successful coaches on the platform that are just swing analysis. And that's what they do. And they found the marketplace for that. I think for me in the off season, it would be, right, this is a great chance to reset, reboot. Let's get on a call. Let's talk about where we're at now, what we need to do next, what that's going to look like, create that for them. And I would go through phases throughout the season of what we're going to do, so that's where I would go, use it as a chance to reboot when you go to the off season. We see things like, off season programs, winter swing rebuilds, things like that. Again, loads of different marketing. I wouldn't say there's a right or wrong there. It's again, the marketplace is huge. Different people are going to need different problem solving. So, yeah.
Totally. I think something else that could be a really good strategy is, so in Skillest, when you build a subscription, you can actually create a minimum amount of time that subscription goes for, right? So say you create a winter rebuild or whatever it might be, you can say that this is a 3-month program, and if they want to continue after that, they can, right? But you call it a 3-month program, and then rather than just calling it a rebuild, maybe actually set an outcome, right? This is what the outcome of this is, right? So rather than just selling a subscription where people don't know where it's actually going, you could do something. This is just an example, like increase club head speed by 3 mile an hour, 4 or 5 mile an hour, whatever it is, over this 3-month period, or improve your accuracy by this and somehow measure it, or reduce your handicap by the time you launch your next season, whatever it might be. Sell an outcome. So set a period and then sell an outcome that you think could be really, really good there. And I think that something like that, which has sort of a defined period as well, and this is something you can do in the actual season itself. But I think that right now people are stuck inside. Like maybe it's if you're a putting coach, or like putting could be the whole thing could be based around shortcut, right? Because people can chip in their backyards, or they can putt on a mat inside. It could be all based around that. So try and sell an outcome and then restrict it to like a 3-month period or something like that potentially. That sound right to you, Steve?
Perfect. I mean, you'll hear sound bites from me, the same ones all the time. Sell the problem you solve. Exactly. I had a coach in today, who was great. They wanted to, and I think we're doing a great job in the industry now. And again, Skillest has helped this. We're moving away from selling packs and selling limited number of things, and we're starting to sell the program subscriptions, a lot of people call it. But I had a coach today was trying to sell the subscription, and that was it. It was kind of sign up for a subscription. That's not what we're trying to sell. We're trying to sell the outcome. We're trying to sell the result, and the subscription is how you're going to get there, because we're making it easy for you to pay this month by month, because that's the world we live in now, with subscription on Skillest, subscription on Netflix, subscription to the gym. We're trying to just slot into people's worlds a whole lot easier, rather than trying to get 600 from somebody up front. People will still pay that, and there's still a model there for it. But I think you spot on, Baden, sell the outcome, and that could be as you said, hit it further, get your start line better with your putting. You might want to bring some fitness people into your programs and start to, interject them into Skillest. Because again, I think we're still touching the basics of what we could do. Are we getting players out on the golf course and doing strategy with them? Are we bringing our clients together and being able to do a Q&A like this, where you go, actually, I'm going to bring 30 people. And we know there's some coaches doing that very well. You've talked about Toby in the past doing a brilliant job now of going, actually, you're in a community now and you're part of something, and we're going to sell this outcome from there. So, yeah, that would be, for me, sell the problem you solve. Simple as that.
Luke Gerard, who is, it's nice and early there in the morning. Good on him for getting up nice and early. So I've asked this before, but I'm still struggling to drive traffic from my socials to Skillest. Any advice? Steve, I'll let you go first.
Driving traffic from socials to Skillest.
Because Luke's done really well. I think he's gone from almost no Instagram followers to like 8,000 in 6 months or something like that. So, I mean, I've seen people build. I mean, look at Jeff Wright. I did an interview with last week. He's literally got 75 subscribers with 1,500 followers, right? So there's obviously something missing for Luke that, say, Jeff is doing, for example. Like, how would you?
I think it's a funny one that, without really diving underneath the numbers, because out of those 8,000, I'd need to know what's your general daily engagement like. Because again, sometimes you can get a reel that goes off and you can end up with 500 new followers, and a lot of them can be just, some might be bot based, some just maybe very generic. For me, I think you need to know, I always like to look at how many followers you've got, but actually how many sort of daily likes are you getting on posts shows me a good level of interaction. Because I'll sometimes see somebody like Jeff and you go, he's getting 60, 70 likes a post. And yet I'll see somebody with 20,000 who's getting 12 likes. And you go, yeah, you may have a big following, but the engagement isn't there. So I guess, Luke, I'd need to know the numbers a little bit more. And probably you understanding how those numbers go down the funnel. I know more from an email perspective, for example, 50% is pretty good in our industry for an open rate. Out of those 50%, you may get 5% click the call to action button. And out of those 5%, you may then get, out of those numbers, 50% may buy that have clicked that button. So I've gone from, let's say, 1,000 people on an email list down to 15 very quickly that want the product. So therefore, you can see the breakdown. So Luke, your numbers may be good. It may be that Jeff is really doing an amazing job in getting his open rate and getting his conversion really well. But to give you tactics behind it, make sure there are clear calls to action to get people from your Instagram across to your Skillest. That could be putting part 1 of a video on Insta and part 2 over on Skillest. It might be that you reward people by giving them a free analysis or a free game review if they come over onto the app. So there's loads of different ways that you can move people, but make it valuable for them to move. Don't just expect them to move. I would say, make it worth their while to go and download something, because it is a big jump for somebody to go and download something, and when they do that, to then go and put their details in and thinking, what am I going to get when I've uploaded this? That's a big deal. So things you might want to do is actually preempt and show them on your Instagram what Skillest looks like, how easy it is to sign up, what they get added value when they do go there. So hope that kind of adds a bit of value from that perspective.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Arguably, sending people straight to Skillest is the worst thing you can do, right? I know that sounds like totally contradictory and, we're doing ourselves a disservice, but there needs to be multiple steps even before that point, right? So
it's in that nurture. It's in that nurture phase. Totally. It's not top of funnel. It's further down for me.
Oh yeah, you have got to give people, I call them open doors everywhere, right? So open doors meaning people can walk into your world. I mean, ideally you don't even want them to walk into your world. You want to reach into the internet and grab them, bring them, kicking and screaming with you, so that you can then convert them. But like just saying to someone, hey, go to my Skillest account and, subscribe, like there's just way too much doubt, friction, concerns. Like people are just not going to do that. What you need to do is like have multiple steps, whether it is engaging with them like on Instagram, whether it is even getting their email address, putting them into a newsletter, whether it is quite literally jumping on a Zoom call with them and just engaging with them and, basically creating that, relationship with someone before you then go, hey, now go and do this on Skillest, right? Because once you do
And I
that,
think,
yeah.
sorry, bud, I was going to jump in
Yeah.
as well, because we're in the industry. We know Skillest, we know Trackman, we know the terminology behind those things. And I see a lot of coaches still using that terminology, and they go, come and follow me on Skillest. And I
Yeah.
don't want to do a disservice to the brand here, Baden, because you've
No,
done a great
totally.
job. But sometimes we need to tell them, come follow me on my online community. Come and meet me over here and word it for something that's a lot friendlier for them. Then, and I see coaches doing this every day. They go, as part of, they add value in their program, you'll get access to my Skillest. What the heck is Skillest to a lot of these people?
Totally.
And so you need to move them across to a platform that sounds really friendly to them, somewhere they're going to add value, tell them what that is, and show them how easy it is to do that. It's like online booking. That's scary for a lot of people when you shift to online booking. You need to show them what it looks like, how it benefits them, make them a video. Here you go. This is what you do. And then when you're over there, this is what you get.
Totally. Yeah, you need to, by the time they get to Skillest, you almost want them sold, you want to have built a relationship through so many different channels or conversations or his testimony. There's just so much more than, as teaching pros, we're just so used to sitting back and letting people book in, right? You've got to be so much more outbound, and you've got to build those multiple steps of moving people through an educational process. And as I call it straight line selling or whatever, to be perfectly honest, the faster you speak to someone, right, whether it's a Zoom call, direct message, whatever it is, the faster that people are going to commit to you. I just guarantee you. I see that just day in and day out, is that with what we're doing, you need to remember there is so much, it's still nascent, right? It's brand new. It really is, right? So most people have doubts about online. Most people don't think it's going to work. Most people, well, why don't I just go down the road and see this bloke, that, works at the golf course or the academy near me or whatever it might be. So you've got to do everything you can to grab that person and educate them on what this is all about. So you can't expect that they understand what it's all about. You can't expect that they're just going to go to Skillest and figure it out. You need to be so much more hands-on. And this is what Jay was talking about before. And this is what we're talking about, right? Is that Luke, I know, great bloke, cracking bloke, right? But Luke will no doubt just be caught up in his day-to-day. He's not waking up every day and going, right, what am I doing to go and pull these people out of the internet, start a conversation, educate them, get them into this email group, get them into this. There's so much more of that's got to happen rather than just sitting back and hoping people are going to come in and figure it all out. Everyone's lazy. Everyone's lazy. We're all lazy, right? You've got to try and do everything you can to make it as easy as possible for them. So yeah, there's so much there, Luke, that you can do. Anyway, but so Lockie's actually a mountain bike coach, right? So that we've got here. So let's see what he's got. So the issue I'm facing is most as a cycling coach is convincing people that they actually need coaching. All right. I see so many riders with poor form who claim that they are just out to have fun and are reluctant to engage. Golf seems to have adopted remote coaching well. Do you have any tips to tackle that, Steve? There you go. There's a good one for you.
Again, find the problem. I'm literally just jumping onto Chat GPT now, and I'm looking for what are the main issues that cyclists have that they may need help with. Is it mountain bikes, was it?
Well, are you there? I think you might have
set up equipment issues. You got me?
Yeah, I think you just dropped out there.
Start back.
Last 10 seconds again.
Yeah, so for me, I've just typed this to Chat GPT just to find the pain points, and then you can find the hooks off the bat of that. But I would have a list of pain points that would then set up everything. That would predict my marketing, that would predict where I'm going to go. Literally ones I've got here, bike setup and equipment issues. So that would be like, right, I'm going to go in and solve that problem for people who have issues that they don't know what bikes to buy, to get the best out of it and how to set it up based around that. Physical conditioning, injury prevention, confidence, skills, mindset, maintenance, mechanical problems. Obviously, I don't know your expertise here, But there is so many things that you could do to find the pain points for those people. And no different to golf, you don't need 1,000 people here. You just need to find that little group of people that potentially are in your specialist area, and then start to market to them, make your message go to them. So out of those things we've just said here, trail strategy and efficiency, technology confusion. So yeah, there's so many things here that I would just be building off the back of straight away. Baden, where would you go with it?
Yeah, I would also, I think with Lockie, one of the things that Lockie probably needs as well is growth in his awareness. Like it's very hard to start, you know, in reverse. Like Lockie's still building out his social media presence and things like that. So I think that also when creating social presence, so you 100% everything Steve said, and I agree, and it's the same with golf coaching, right? Is that you need to always get in the student's mind and be like, what do I know that they know to be true, and what they hate about their game, and then always talk to that, right? So, like an example of that, like in golf coaching is you can say to students, you know, when you go to an in-person golf lesson and then tomorrow you lose it, or you hold on to it for 2 or 3 days and then you lose it after 3 days, every student's going to go, yep, that's me, right? You know that's every single student loses it after 3 days. That's what you need to then talk to with remote coaching. Well, guess what? We can solve that through this, right? So I would say, like, you've always got to look into the students or the writer's mind and be like, what do they know to be true that they always struggle with, and then sort of, attack that sort of stuff, I think, is super important. But when it comes to your socials, one thing I would definitely recommend, and we can probably have a private conversation about this, also look for really engaging content as well. Like potentially going into like hardcore technical advice as well in your socials can also be hard to grow initially. Like a lot of our top coaches grow with, so you want to create hardcore instructional stuff, but then really entertain. So it's like edutainment. Is that what they call it, Steve? Like, so it's like,
yeah,
it's not just
infotainment. Yeah.
Yeah. So you want to create a bit more edutainment.
I'm just reading back through your question there as well. What's interesting is that the objection is they're saying to you, I don't need support. They're saying I need to have more fun. And in which case, start there. Start with the fun, like Baden says. Show them how they can have more fun mountain biking. Show them the best trails around the world that have been ridden and things like that. And then once you've got them in your world and they hold know, like, and trust, then you can start to educate them based around what they need and how they could add more value to it. But yes, they set the world and show them what they really need to get better. And that's the same for golf, mountain biking. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, totally. That's a really, really good point, right? So go to fun, go to enjoyment, and then like we've got so many coaches on the platform that didn't even really start creating coaching content. They started with fun content and moved to coaching, right? Like we've seen that everywhere. So maybe that's a good start. So Gareth Bennett, I've had some people reach out and ask about sessions. I reply as best I can, trying to sound enthusiastic, and then sometimes the conversation ends there. And then anything in particular I should put in my initial response that I may not be doing. Thanks and appreciate it. Maybe I'll go first on this one. It's hard to know, Gareth. I mean, we can chat about this as well, but it's hard to know exactly what you are saying. Like what does that initial interaction look like? And from my experience, the biggest problem is that coaches take their in-person brain and they put it online, right? So they don't talk to enough of how, or they don't use the tools to display how dynamic the learning experience can be a lot of the time. So, so what I mean by that is like sometimes like if you start engaging with people, like you might say something like, "Hey, send over some swings and I'll give you some feedback." That's not very compelling, right? To someone, they're like, well, what, feedback, is that really, what am I going to do with that feedback? What you need to do is be constantly educating people. And this is what I do. Like I've been working with a couple of students recently. One of them in particular is actually quite large on socials, and hopefully in 3 months we'll sort of come out and talk about what we've been doing together and stuff like that. But when I gave him his first experience, I just tried to blow his socks off, right? So that initial engagement with someone, you want to blow their socks off. So whether that is a conversation, in that conversation, you want to describe the vision or the process that you have for your people that you mentor. So that's the other thing, right? Is that you want to move away from swing analysis or just like transactional stuff, which is sort of the in-person online, right? You don't want to take your in-person online, and you want to talk to the incredible benefits and the power of the digital experience, right? So the digital experience being 24-hour communication, the digital experience being community stuff. So all of our top coaches have got a community running with all their subscribers, so you can participate in that. It could be data tracking, like using, Arcos Link, like it could be whatever it is. See, if people are dropping off, it's because it doesn't sound compelling enough. Like, why? What am I going to get out of this? Why would I do this as opposed to the in-person experience? And often, it is that the coach just taking that quite transactional, which is so natural, right? Is like, hey, send me a swing, then I'll give you an analysis. That can lead to quite a lot of drop off because it's not what we say in the tech world, right? So now that I'm a former teaching pro and now tech entrepreneur or whatever, like what we talk about in tech is that if you're going to disrupt something, right? If you're going to disrupt a traditional industry, you actually need to be 10 times better than the incumbent. You can't be 1 times better or 2 times better. You've actually got to be 10 times better, right? Now, whether or not that number's 100% true, I don't know, but the sort of idea rings true, right? Where when you are talking to someone, you've got them to walk away and go, holy shit, like this is going to be amazing. I can't wait. Where's my credit card? Right? This makes so much sense. But if it is just like, I could sort of just get that from a person down the road, which they can't, right? Because most people down the road don't care. We all know that. But if you're on this call right now, you probably care a lot and you want to, you're very good at what you do. By definition, most skills coaches are incredible at what they do. You need to explain to them what the vision or what the next 6 months of learning with you can look like. The value, right? The interaction, the multi-touch experience, the care that they just don't get from the in-person experience. So you need to, your offering needs to look like it's 10x better to actually compel someone to come and work with you. Does that make sense to you, Steve?
100%. I think, again, like you said, without actually seeing what you're asking them and where the conversation's breaking down, but I'd be going open questions. If this is by DM or something, I'd be open questions. I want to find out about these people first of all and try and find a common goal. And then I'd be trying to get them into a Zoom call as quick as I can. I'd be like, hey, have you got 15 minutes right now? Can you jump on and I'll talk you through it? And just straight away them knowing that, whoa, this person really cares. They're willing to jump on me right now whilst I'm in this buying window. Come at me yesterday, and because of something come up, I can't see them until next Friday. And straight away I'm going, man, that's not good. I can't get them until next Friday. They're in that window right now. And I know I've made the job so much tougher for myself by trying to get them in to next Friday. Because it is instantaneous. It is going that extra mile with it. So yeah, I'm not going to add anything more to what you said. You nailed it, Baden. How do we make it? How do you 10x it? I love that. How do you make that experience amazing? I was fortunate last week. I went to 2 different hotels, both the same star rating, and one blew the socks off the other one. Absolutely. Even though it was meant to be the same product, it was a completely different product. And it is that detail they went to, but I'm not going to go there. But yeah, you can separate yourselves away as coaches,
Steve? Yeah, sorry.
Go. You're good. You're good.
So what Steve said there, just like as part of everything he was saying, was like if someone DM'd you, right? Look, you should be thinking, and this is what we don't do as teaching pros because we've never done business development. We don't usually see the student until they've paid and they're standing in front of us, right? That's our usual onboarding experience. You need to change your behavior so that if someone says to you without paying a cent, like to start with, hey, this sounds really interesting. Start a live Zoom call. Hey, have you got 5 minutes to just catch up right now? Let's have a chat. And I guarantee you that 5 minutes will change everything. So 5 minutes of, a little bit of business development, onboarding and relationship building, explanation. That 5 minutes can expedite the purchase process by a year, 2 years, 3 years. Like that person might eventually come and learn from you, but like you can change it all in 5 minutes. So that's what I would say. So
Baden, on the back of
yeah,
that, I'm going to ask you a question. If
yeah.
somebody jumped in a call with you, because this is one I get quite a lot, would
Mm.
you give them your best stuff, or would you save that and give them your best stuff later on? Where do you sit with it?
As I said before, I think you want to knock people's socks off, like straight away. Like you want people to be like, this is my girl or guy. This is like what I've been looking for. You know, the worst thing you can do, and this probably comes back to the free analysis stuff, right? The worst thing you can be do is not 10x better, but actually worse, right, than the in-person experience. That's the worst thing you can do. So if you come along and like someone sends you an action or whatever it might be, and you're like, I don't want to give away anything here. I'm just going to tell them everything that's wrong with their golf swing in a 1 minute video. The student is going to be like, this is terrible, right? All I know is that I swing it like crap and this is no good for me. What I always do if someone sends an action to me, like I try and knock their socks off, and I talk to them as if they're already on a subscription, right? So the language I use and the prescriptive sort of nature of the lesson is like, right, this is what's happening next. This is what I expect. This is what I want to see, blah, 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 on this day. And, and then you sort of stretch it out even further and over the next couple of months, we can chip away at it like this. And so, you know, and look, all I would say as well is that you can experiment. So maybe do exactly what I just said as well, right? Because this is part of like what we're doing as a relatively new industry is we're still figuring stuff out, right? So not try and knock someone's socks off and then maybe try something different if you want, right? That's the other thing I would say. You can experiment. But all I would honestly say is that what you're trying to do, and this is actually, I think that Dan Spalding's also asking a question, right? How do you break, the mold of people saying, I need to see a coach in person as I learn better being put into positions? Um, it's sort of the same sort of stuff, right? Is that if you jump on I guarantee you, Dan, like if you jump on a Zoom with someone really, really quickly, right? If they, like some people are really good with the asynchronous stuff. So asynchronous being, I get a full analysis, right? I've got students that don't even want to do Zoom calls ever, right? They're really happy with the full breakdown and they can take the information and integrate it on their own, right? They're largely very good at that. But what I have found is that for people that are struggling, with you've got to put me in a position, a 10-minute Zoom call with those students and just saying, let's replicate the move. I'm going to stand up. Here's my golf club. You replicate the move with me. You would be absolutely amazed that, oh, right, that's what you mean. Oh, I can feel that now, right? So, because you can quite literally in the moment bounce ideas off each other, get them to replicate the exact move that you're doing. And then they can sort of relate a position and a feel to what you're doing. So something like that could help. But that is, once again, it's going 10xing it, right? Wow, this experience is so much better than, the in-person experience. So stuff like that is super important. Now, the other thing with that is that you can have a combination of both. So we are just about to release the Skillest calendar. Jay Kelly is using it. We've got a bunch of other coaches that Luke Gerard actually, we were just talking about, started using it. He's selling his hybrids in-person subscription. So it's both in-person and online. You can now build these incredible hybrid subscriptions using our calendar. You can, with Dan, what you'll be able to do is actually have someone that buys a one-off lesson in person. So this is obviously for people that live within, who knows, like a certain distance of you. But then you can also give them full online support. So you can actually build like a combination product with the new calendar that we're about to release. So yeah, I don't know. How would you address that issue as well, Steve?
I think you've just described it. I think we've been living in a world for the last 5 years where we've gone in person or online. Now we've just merged them. You can now hybrid coach. And I think, that's the major add value. Either way, you could take an online person. We're seeing that, I know Rob Block I talked to a lot, who might be on the call. He's getting people coming from all over Europe to have in-person lessons with him because he's met them online. And then we're getting people the opposite side going, actually, I work in person. This person's moved away or they travel 2 hours. They don't want to come in every month. They want to come in every other month. So we get them on a subscription still and a plan. And then part of that is in person, part of it is online. Or they maybe come in for a full day once every 6 months and you work with them in between. So it's recognizing now that these aren't two separate things. It's just what's best for that client. And for a lot of people, it will be in person and online.
Totally. Amazing. These are
Next
great questions.
question.
I'm loving it. So we've got Stuart McKenzie is also like, how often should you be posting on social media, and should there be a call to action on every post or sporadically so it doesn't become annoying to viewers? What do you reckon, Steve? Did you hear that, Steve?
Yeah, I've got you. Can you hear me okay? Let me try and switch to my Wi-Fi. It might be better.
Yeah,
Rather
it's
than
just
the
been a
4G.
little bit. It's a
Has that
little
got
bit
me?
jumpy, but I think we've got most of it.
Okay, try that. I say I'm going to straight talk for a second because sometimes we need that as well. Is that there's no surprise when I click on the participants in this call, a lot of them are very, very successful already on Skillest. Okay. And they're the ones that just want more. They want another edge. They want to find something extra. There's an obsession with what they're trying to do. They're trying to grow a business. So if you're obsessed with trying to offer an amazing product for your clients and obsessed with trying to improve your own life and create what you want to create, then to answer the question, get on socials every single day. It should be a part of what you do to grow your business. Go back to what Jay said at the start. It's given him the time now to work on his funnel every single day. And there's just more coming out at the bottom end. Simple as that. He's not doing any magic. He's just creating time to market his business, and he's putting a strategy in place. So if you're serious about growing your online and your marketplace is in the social world, I'd be on there every day. But what I would do, again, this is about, people who know me very well hear me talk about stickability all the time. It's about showing up for a period of time over and over again. If I've got a golfer in front of me who's just starting out and they said, should I go to the range tomorrow because I'm not quite sure if I'm doing the right thing? Go. Just go to the range, get in the habit of going. Go mess up a little bit, get it wrong, come back, and then we'll change it and we'll move it. But don't sit and wait for perfection to take action. So I would say, same with your socials. Get out there, start posting, find the channel that's most appropriate to your message, your USP. We've got coaches inside of Skillest that are awesome still on Twitter, X. Michael Farrier Twist killing it on TikTok. We've got, so everybody thinks they need to be on Instagram, but they don't. And as we develop further, things are going to change. There'll be new social things that come out, and we need to be on those and understanding how the market's moving. But pick your channel, pick your people, and then be consistent. Show up every single day. And that's the ones that's going to make a difference. The coaches that go, you know what? I had no followers for 300 days and then I got it. And then it went and it started to move. It's as simple as that. Sorry,
I actually saw.
preaching, but that's it.
Yeah, I actually saw Rati post something about that literally this morning. He was saying that his Instagram just completely blew up in about a 10-day period. He was just consistent,
Yeah.
and then he got 3 posts that went bananas, and now he's got like 40,000.
It's cool when people do go straight away.
Yeah,
you know, and
rare.
they might come back to me and go, "Oh, Steve, that thing you gave me, it's taken off and it's changed a bit." But it's like anything. It's like golf coaching. It's like a tip you give somebody, and they turn around and go, "Oh, I broke 80 this weekend with that tip," and I'm thinking, I'll take the credit, but really, it's the fact that you've been going to the range every day, you've been practicing every day, you've been obsessed with it, and you're now getting what you deserve. So it's nice when we get some credit, but it is the show up, the stickability, that constant, I'm going to be there. And there'll be coaches in the room that are going, I've been doing that, I've been showing up. Well, then show up longer.
Keep going. Exactly. We're 10 years in at Skillest, right? And I still get up at 5 o'clock every morning and grind, right? You just go. So,
yeah.
So the other thing, probably even something that's really, really sort of practical in that question though, Stuart, is, so how often should you be posting, right? So obviously you should be posting. The way I think most coaches should use their Instagram, for example, is that you use your tiles, right, or your feed for really cool educational stuff and engagement, and you use your stories for conversion calls to action. Does that make sense? So you don't need to...
Yeah. I would, and I'd agree with you there. And I think part of that question I missed, which is, should I have a CTA every day? Probably give somebody somewhere to go, but don't feel like it's in their face all the time. I'd agree. I'm a big Gary V fan. and I'm a
Yeah.
big kind of give, ask. So
Yeah.
I would say start with educate people, get them in your world, add value to them. And then when you do ask, or should I say you've earned the right to ask is what I always talk about. So earn the right to ask, but put CTAs in there where if somebody does want to take action, it's pretty clear what they need to do. Things that drive me crackers are go to my bio and click there. No, actually put it on your story where they can click the link right there. The biggest one I get is where the link is in the text on Instagram and you can't copy it and you can't click it. So make sure the CTA is of real value.
Totally.
And don't get the CTA to be too big. Don't be sign up with me today. As we said, the call to action might be, hey, come and see me on Skillest where there's part 2 of this video, or et cetera, et cetera. The call to action just might be moving them down the funnel a little bit more when you do it. Great question.
All right, we might make this the very last one, and anyone else has asked a question, I'll follow up with you. But Jack is asking a couple of questions. Will there be a screenshot feature in the analysis? Seems to be just video, which can then be turned into an AI review, which is great. There is one already, right? I'm going to hold this up really, really quickly. I don't know if this is going to work, but see that little shadow, this little button here, right? That is, if you hit that, that takes a screenshot and it sends it straight to your photo library of all the lines and everything you've drawn, and it removes all the tools off the screen, right? So it basically, that's your screenshot, right? So that does exist. And then he asks, regardless of price, is there a best way to structure your services offered? Seems to me creating a paid subscriber base is a great pathway. So subscriptions are the foundation of everyone's business on the platform. So, guy like Jay, for example, has got 72 subscribers, I think he's got at the moment. And then any individual lessons are sort of like amazing cherries on top, but he's got, 72 at £200 a month or whatever it might be. And so it really does start with like building out a strong subscription base. It's something that you can do if you're starting out on the platform. What I would definitely do, Jack, go and watch the video with Jeff Wright that is in the feed in Skillest. I released that this week or last week, and he did it all through pricing. Like he was through dynamic pricing, which is something we're not used to when it comes to coaching. We're used to like basically having the same price for a decade and hardly changing it. When it comes to Skillest, you can be so dynamic. You can go up, you can go down, you can go flash sale, whatever it might be. But essentially, he started relatively low. Very low. Sorry, not relatively, unbelievably low. He started at like $25 USD for a subscription, which I would probably argue is almost too low. But he said, once I get to 5, I'm going to go to 50. And once I get to 15, I'm going to go to 100. Now, he's like literally a year and a half later, he's at 75, 80 subscribers or whatever he's at, and he's charging it at 200, I think, on average. So that's very hard to do in person. So what I would say is if you're starting out, be very dynamic with your pricing, try and price for traction, and then you can build from there. Everyone's done that. Like, if I'm going to be honest, it looks like everyone's charging a lot now. I guarantee you, even the top coaches that are charging truckloads, even Alex Riggs, who is now charging 750 US a month, I still remember he started at 100, right? But then he dynamically moved up as he sort of gained traction. So, all right. So we better get moving. I've actually got to take my daughter to school this morning, Steve. So I better go and do that. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Steve, thank you for being here. As I said, everyone, we're going to be in the UK in January. I've already sent out a little bit of information. You'll get an email in the next 48 hours as well. We're going to go to the PGA show. We'll be in the States as well. After that, we'll be in Orlando. So if you are at the PGA show, we would absolutely love to see you. I'll probably spend a little bit of time in Texas and California after that as well. So if you're in the States, I'd love to connect with you as well. But Steve, mate, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for being here. Anything you want to leave everyone with?
Nope. Simple as that. Just kind of keep doing it. Just show up every day. There you go. I'm done with that. Show up every day.
And if you want to work with Steve, just reach out to Steve. When I send this message out, I'll put Steve's email in there. Steve is unbelievable. His proven track record of helping coaches build incredible businesses.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, team. We will see you next time.